Aston Martin is undergoing a massive change in 2020. Canadian billionaire Lawrence Stroll took over as chairman in April, former CEO Andy Palmer was ousted in favour of ex-AMG boss Tobias Mowers, and the marque will return to Formula One again next year as a rebranded version of Stroll's Racing Point outfit. But a reshuffle at the top isn't the only change the company is undergoing in 2020. Aston's first ever SUV, the DBX, is due to arrive by the end of the year to do battle with the Lamborghini Urus and Bentley Bentayga. It could be critical to the company's future too. Aston plans to sell 4,000 examples of the DBX every year, which it'll need to do to get itself out of its current financial woes. With the DBX just around the corner, providing the coronavirus clears up soon, here are 5 things you need to know about Aston's inaugural SUV. The SUV space is quite possibly the most overcrowded segment of the entire car market. For every hatchback, there's a crossover variant, and the same goes for super minis and estate cars. But when the DBX goes on sale later this year, it'll enter a relatively desolate part of the market. Aston's SUV carries a price tag of £158,000 before you spec all those lovely and expensive optional extras. Now, if you're wanting an SUV with a bit more luxury, you'll want the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, which costs an extra £100,000. The Porsche Cayenne Turbo SE Hybrid, which is sporty like the DBX but doesn't quite match the Aston on luxury, is some £30,000 cheaper than the British SUV. The Lamborghini Urus is arguably its closest competitor at £200,000, but we'd argue that the typical Lamborghini buyer won't be that interested in Aston's more conservative DBX, and vice versa. Then there's the Bentley Bentayga V8, which undercuts the Aston by £25,000, but doesn't quite match it in the sportiness department. It seems then, if you want a sporty yet luxurious SUV, the DBX is the car for you. Enough of the numbers, let's talk about the car's design. While the concept version looked a bit like a DB11 on stilts, the production model looks more like an SUV with a few elements plucked from the Vantage. The grille is a mix between the current Vantage and the DBX concept, though the production model ditches the concept's 2-door layout for a more conventional 4-door body style. It doesn't have the concept's coupe-like roofline either, though the DBX is far sleeker than most conventional SUVs. The back end is arguably the most interesting part of the design, as it looks as though Aston has taken the rear end of the Vantage and glued it onto the back of a 4x4. It may share some design elements with the Vantage and use some components from Mercedes-AMG, but the car is actually built on a bespoke bonded aluminium platform, unlike the Urus, which shares its underpinnings with the Audi Q7, and the Q8, and the Porsche Cayenne, and the Bentley Bentayga, and the Volkswagen Touareg. What do you think of the DBX's design? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll come and join you. As we briefly mentioned, Aston Martin has a technical partnership with Mercedes-AMG, and therefore you'll find a lot of components on the DBX have been plucked from the German car maker's parts bin. At the heart of the DBX is AMG's 4-litre twin-turbo V8 engine, which can be found in the likes of the Mercedes-AMG GT and the Aston Martin Vantage. However, the British marque has upped the compression ratio and upgraded the turbo and intercooler to extract 542 brake horsepower and 700 Nm of torque. Power is sent to all 4 wheels through a 9-speed automatic gearbox, helping launch 5 occupants and a dog from 0 to 60 mph in 4.5 seconds before hitting a top speed of 181 mph. The DBX isn't just a glammed-up SUV, according to Aston Martin. Nope, it's a proper off-roader, and there's some interesting tech underneath the skin that should help you out if you fancy taking your DBX through some mud. The SUV comes with a selection of off-road modes, along with standard fit hill descent control so you can scale mountains with ease. There's also a 48-volt anti-roll system, which not only improves stability on track, but also keeps the car level on loose surfaces without shaking you to pieces. It's unlikely to give the new Land Rover Defender a run for its money, but the DBX is more about drifting around muddy hairpins like Walter Roll without making your dog sick. We mentioned earlier that you can expect to pay more than the DBX's £158,000 base price when you've ticked a few boxes on the options list. We've had a good look through the optional extra selection, and there are some real gems to choose from. The first is the event seating option, which adds a pair of foldable seats into the boot so you can watch a polo match or a boat race or some other sport that isn't football from the comfort of your DBX. There's also a pet package, which not only comes with a partition between the boot and cabin, as well as a bumper guard, you also get a portable washer to hose down your pets after a long, muddy walk. Find out more about the Aston Martin DBX and check out all the latest car news and reviews by heading over to YesAuto.com.